Right, okay, before we get started on making this repashy, we have to address my fingernails. Yeah, do the finger fandango. So it's my 4-year-old's leaving party. Yes, apparently there's a leaving party at nursery. So I've taken the day off to take her. She's getting dressed up as Elsa. She wanted me to paint her nails. And in return, she painted mine. So yeah. That's not the norm, okay? Right, we need to start with 750 mils of water. You don't need that much. It's just that, well, the reason we have the big, like 1 kilo tubs, or 2 kilo tubs, sorry, is we feed a lot of it. A lot. Now, these aren't cheap. These are about £100 a piece. But it's just one of the best things. If you're dealing with plecos, especially slow grazing animals, it's hard to beat. So we actually use one of these level scoops, which is 1/3 of a cup. I don't know if you can actually see that. 1/3 of a cup of each one, with around about 250 ml of water. Now, grub pie and bottom scratcher will be around 250 ml. Morning wood is a different case. Morning wood's a little bit more special. It's I don't know whether it's because of like the silicates in the wood or whatever, but yeah, that doesn't need as much water. It goes pretty gloopy real quick. Right, it's literally as simple as this, guys. You got to make sure you give it a really good mix. I know a lot of American people say, oh, they do it in the microwave. Do not do this in the microwave. I don't mind it because you tolerate things. If it stinks, as long as it's beneficial for the fish. Like, so I can put up the smell. Mrs. Shrimp hates it. Definitely do not go putting this in your microwave. It's actually a little bit thin. Yeah, they put a little bit too much water in that one. We'll have a dash more. So this one's probably more half a cup. There we go. See, it's starting to get sloppy. Spoons aren't much good. You want a fork. Really sort of mash it. At this point, if you wanted to add anything else, now's the time to do it. We've done spirulina powder, chlorella powder. Some people even try and put frozen foods in there. The problem is frozen foods generally sort of sink to the bottom. And that's it. That's 300 ml for repashy. That will do today. Straight on to the next one. Let's try and get the water a little bit more accurate this time. I normally do it individually, but for the purposes of the video, well, let's actually try and sort of speed things up. You don't want to be sat around waiting for it. See, I put the thing away. I'm not even going to blame it on the camera. I am always this disorganized. One level. I've just done it again. I've just put it back in there. Now this one's bottom scratcher. This is a Hypan's absolute favorite. Now if your water is boiling hot like it should have been, and you're not trying to make a silly video about it, it makes it a little bit easier. That's the sort of consistency you want. And then your morning wood. This stuff's always got that little smoke to it. Right, if you're buying the big ones, it is good because it does settle. Just give it a turn and then back over. But be aware, when you open it, that happens. So don't shake it, otherwise it really happens. I mean, it happens on a biblical scale. So we don't feed quite as much morning wood. So Repashy itself, say it's something like a 2-to-1, 3-to-1 ratio. I don't know what that is in mil and teaspoons or tablespoons. So this one, you just got to play a little bit by ear. So you saw how the first two mixed. Morning wood, I mean, that is 200 ml of water in there. This stuff goes really stiff, really quick. And you'll notice when it's actually set, the density of this stuff. Yeah, see, it's already a paste. So the density of this stuff is incredible. It's just, it's like tofu. You cannot mess with it. I'll have a little dash more in there. But you've got to be quick. This stuff, it sets pretty quickly. So, bottom scratcher we feed to all the high pans. Well, everything that is a bottom feeder. So we have high pans sharing with Corey's, so they all get that. Every single fish here gets grub pie put in. See, that is still less water. See how thick it is. And the morning wood really just goes to the whiptails, the 204, Joey. Sultan actually likes it as well. But yeah, that is, I mean, look. I'll do that with one of the other ones. Starts shifting straight away. This stuff is like glue. It's ridiculous. So that is 1 day's worth of Repashy. 700 ml of water. So probably 800 ml of food. And that's how we do it. You can do it in the microwave. I promise you don't do it. It stinks. The microwave will stink forever. You don't need to mix it up in a saucepan. First time I ever tried to mix Repashy, about 12, 13 years ago, whatever it was. I did it in a saucepan. I don't know why. I think somebody told me that was how you did it. But you've seen how fast this stuff sets. It's not a case of you can mix it in and then pour it into another container unless you do it very, very watery. And even then, it doesn't last as long. It doesn't hold its structure very well in the aquarium. So I bunged it in there and yeah. Oh, that saucepan was never used again. Not that it couldn't have been, it's just, you know, that's it. We could just leave them like that for about an hour. There's your bottom scratcher, fantastic. Morning wood, fantastic. There is also another one, Soylent Green. I prefer morning wood over Soylent Green. I can't remember why, but it was a conscious choice to ditch Soylent Green. We went for morning wood. And then grub pie, which is also fantastic. Now they're mixed, we just let them sit like that for an hour, turn them out, put them into cubes or strips or whatever. And although you think, well, okay, well, that doesn't actually look like an awful lot of food, it really is. Speak to another Repashy user, they'll tell you that's quite a lot of food. But you'll see when we slice it up, because how much is one pleco really going to eat? But they get fed this 2 to 3 times a day, plus other stuff when we're conditioning. If not, then they just get this once, plus other stuff every day. Okay, so now they're set. You can tell the difference between these two in their smell. That's grub pie. And that is bottom scratcher. It's got a darker, meatier smell to it. But anyway, it hasn't been an hour, but I'm in a bit of a rush. You know, I've got to get Cinderella to the ball. So this stuff suctions itself in real good, like you'd expect. It's physics. We just cut around the edge, put over, and just keep squeezing until it comes out. comes out easier when it's actually set. There we go. There's 1 day's worth for some of the fish, and same again with this one. So why do I cut it into strips and not blocks? Well, that is down to the animals I intend to feed with this. One block can be easily monopolized by a large female 236, but a strip is harder for her to monopolize. But also, we've got all the baby super whites that need to be fed. And 1 or 2 strips of this, you know, how many of them can feed on it rather than 1 cube? Same overall volume, but more surface area. And that is what we go for. So you'll notice there, it'll be blatantly obvious. The green one, the morning wood, do different because there are not so many animals going to actually be eating it. Excuse me. So this one goes for 204s, 264s, 134s, Stursomas, Farlowellas. So this one, because there aren't as many of them, don't need to worry about them taking over the food quite so much. That one can be done quite easily in cubes. So it's not always about the ingredients, what you're feeding, it's the method it feeds. And this is the fantastic thing about Repashy. It lasts a long time in the water column. This is the same principle behind the Breeders' Greens. It's aimed more ancistrus than more carnivorous, like a Haipan. But it means you can put it in there. It is quite delicious. Quite a lot of other fish will start eating it, but because it holds its structure in the water for a long time, about 12 hours, it gives your ancestors plenty of time to come out and eat it when you're not around or when the lights are off. So yeah, we think ingredients are important. A whole nutritional profile is important, but it's no good if the fish can't eat it. So method, then nutritional profile, then cost. That's the 3 most important things for us. Obviously, this stuff is not cheap, but it's a great method with great ingredients. So it's got the first 2 most important things ticked off. So the third one doesn't really matter that much. Also, as well as putting it on ornaments and stuff when you mixed it, because the Repashy blend doesn't use gelatin like some of the other companies that come to the market, this ridiculously fine powder is as fine, if not finer, than any fry powder. Can be fed directly to fry. We find that the little rainbows that can quite easily be fed once a day, twice a day, 3, 4 times a day is better. But even though they can be fed once a day on something small straight away, like a fry powder or hard-boiled egg is quite common, of just the yolk, this is just a much better solution. Do I use it for that? No. We use our own fry powder. But yeah, this stuff, fantastic. So many uses, so many ways of feeding it. You can feed it once a week as a treat, and you don't have to buy this. It's more economical to buy it this size, but the middle size, don't go for the small one. The middle size, which I think will run you about $30–35 bucks at the moment, that'll last you quite a while. If you just mix up a small batch, don't mix up a big one, and then try and keep it in the fridge, it only ever lasts, even when it's covered, like 5 to 7 days. Yeah, you can freeze it, but just don't. It gets freezer burned real easy. Just mix up a small batch and just feed little bits through the week, and that'll last you a couple of months. This, if you've only got one tank, will probably last you 2 or 3 years. But yeah, Repashy, if you haven't tried it, honestly, try it.